You think Baba Yaga eats children? That's what they want you to believe. The truth is far darker, and far more important. Because right now, she's watching you. Long before the birch trees learned to whisper, before the rivers carved their names into stone, before humans even dreamed of naming the sky, there was only the dark between. Not darkness as absence, but darkness as womb. Thick. Breathing. Full of unshaped things waiting to be called. And within that dark lived the first knowing. It had no eyes, yet it saw. No mouth, yet it spoke in the language of roots and rot and rebirth. No hands, yet it shaped everything that would ever bleed, bloom, or break. The first knowing was not kind. It was not cruel. It simply was, like frost on a blade, like the hunger of the soil after fire. And when the first sparks of human consciousness flickered into being along the banks of the Dnieper, the Volga, the Carpathian foothills, the first knowing turned its attention to them. Not because it loved them, but because they were loud. Their cries at birth tore the silence. Their prayers to sky gods rattled the boughs. Their wars sent tremors down into the deep places where old powers slept. And so, slowly, over centuries of moon cycles and harvests and plagues, the first knowing began to gather a vessel, a form that could walk among them, speak their tongue, yet remain untouched by their illusions. It began with the bones of the land itself. From the hollows of lightning-struck oaks, it took voice, the crackle before thunder, the groan of a dying branch. From the nests of ravens who remembered the world before wolves, it took sight, the ability to see not just flesh, but the shadow that clings to a liar's heel. From the marrow of bears that fasted through winter dreams, it took silence, the terrible quiet of one who has seen too much to chatter. Then came the shaping. The first knowing walked the edges of villages at twilight, watching. It watched the woman who buried stillborns with acorns on their chests so they might grow into trees. It watched the midwife who bit her own tongue to keep from screaming when a mother died in childbirth. It watched the outcast who fed her last crust to a starving wolf pup, knowing she'd be cursed for it. From these women, nameless, often feared, it drew its face. Not one face. Many. The sagging skin of the elder who remembered the old rites when others called them devil work. The iron-gray eyes of the widow who refused to remarry and tended the sacred grove alone. The wild, unbound hair of the girl who spoke to mushrooms and was called mad, until the fever came, and her poultice saved half the hamlet. Piece by piece, breath by breath, the vessel grew. It was not born in a hut. It was forged in a threshold, the space between forest and field, life and death, truth and taboo. And the people, sensing something ancient now walked in woman shape, gave her a title that was also a warning, Baba. Not grandmother, as in softness and cookies, but Baba as in, the old one, the one who was here before your bloodline, the one whose lap is not for sitting. And Yaga? That word came from deeper still, from the root Yagati, meaning, to rage, to reproach, to shake with fury. But also from the older sound Yagla, meaning, to protect fiercely, to guard the hidden root. So Baba Yaga, not a name, but a function. A role the land itself had summoned. She did not choose her hut. The hut chose her. It rose one autumn night from a mound where 3 streams met beneath a blood moon. The earth split open, and 2 great legs, scaly, bird-thewed, older than mammoth bone, pushed upward through the soil. They belonged to Tsar, the fire chicken of the world egg, slain by primordial winds and buried where the veil was thin. From Tsar's ribs grew the walls, blackened by ancient conflagrations, sealed with resin from trees that weep when touched. The roof wove itself from crow feathers shed during eclipses. The chimney puffed not smoke, but the sighs of those who had stood at death's door and turned back. And the fence? Ah, that was not built, it accumulated. Every soul who came to Baba Yaga seeking power without wisdom, answers without sacrifice, left something behind. Sometimes a finger bone. Sometimes a kneecap. Sometimes a jaw still frozen in a scream. The skulls on the posts were not trophies, they were warnings, each one whispering to the next fool, she sees your heart. Do you? Her mortar and pestle were gifts from Mat Zemuya, Mother Earth herself. The mortar was carved from the kneecap of the first giant who tried to hold up the sky and failed. The pestle, from the spine of a serpent that once coiled around the world and whispered lies into the ears of gods. With them, Baba Yaga ground the herbs of waking and forgetting, of binding and unbinding. She did not ride for sport. She rode because the earth's secrets are not found by standing still. Her oven was never just an oven. It was the mouth of Nav, the Slavic underworld, the place of roots and ancestors, of things that must rot so others may grow. To be thrown into Baba Yaga's oven was not always death. Sometimes it was initiation. The fire burned away the false self, the liar, the coward, the thief of others' joy, and if anything true remained, it crawled out, raw and new. In the earliest songs, sung so softly they were almost breathed, Baba Yaga was not a terror, but a necessity. When a village grew soft with greed, forgetting to leave milk for the domovoi or grain for the birds of winter, she would appear at the edge of the fields. She would not speak. She would simply watch. And within a moon, blight would come, or frost in summer, until they remembered humility. When a girl was betrothed against her will, and wept into her spindle until her tears turned to silver, Baba Yaga might leave a black feather on her windowsill. Follow it, and you'd find a path through the forest that led not to death, but to a hidden valley where women lived free, weaving spells and tending sacred bees. She was neither good nor evil. She was balance. Like the wolf that culls the weak deer so the herd survives. Like the storm that flattens the proud oak so saplings may reach the sun. Like the winter that kills the field so the soil may rest. But as iron replaced bone, and churches rose where groves once stood, the people began to forget. They stopped leaving offerings of honey and rye at the forest's edge. They called her devil witch and nailed crosses to their doors. They told their children simplified tales, Baba Yaga eats bad girls. As if morality were that simple. And Baba Yaga, feeling the threads of reverence unravel, grew sharper. She began to set tests not just of courage, but of remembrance. Tell me, she would rasp to a seeker, what did your grandmother burn on the solstice? Or, what song did the river sing before they dammed it? Or, what is the true name of the wind that comes from the east in March? Most could not answer. Their minds were full of market prices and priestly rules, not the old knowing. And so, the stories darkened. She became a monster in the tales of those who had lost the language of the land. Yet in the deepest woods, among the old women who still knew how to brew dream tea from yarrow and mugwort, she remained what she had always been, the keeper of the threshold. There are those who say she was once a goddess, perhaps Mokash, the Earth Mother, cast down and twisted by time. Others whisper she is the last priestess of a forgotten cult, cursed to wander until the old ways return. But the truth is older than that. Baba Yaga was never a person. She is the land's immune system. When the world grows sick with lies, she appears. When the people forget their debt to the soil, she tests them. When a soul stands at the edge of transformation, too afraid to burn away the old skin, she offers the oven. She is made of everything that has been discarded, feared, or buried. The power of old women, dismissed as crones. The wildness of untamed places, paved over for progress. The truth that comfort often breeds corruption. And so she endures. Not because she wants to. But because the world needs her. Even now, when you walk alone in a deep forest and the path behind you vanishes in mist, and you feel a presence watching, not with malice, but with ancient, terrible patience, do not call her evil. Call her necessary. For Baba Yaga is not coming to destroy you. She is coming to ask, are you ready to become who you were meant to be? And if you say yes, truly, with your whole trembling self, she will hand you a skull lit with blue flame, and say, go. Burn what must be burned. The rest will grow.